Yeah, it is a massive undertaking and there's so many elements to it. So you have to rely on a really massive team of people that you trust, and we all get on super well. So we tend to split up certain roles in terms of if there's laser work and automation, Morgan is looking after it this time. James is looking after getting all the props drawn up and getting those passed in. And then I look after talking to all the delegations directly. Normally we split that, but the way it's worked out this year has changed with the organisation. So we have really great processes. We're really lucky to have programmers that are all kind of light designers in their own right as well, so they're very able to take a brief from us and run with it very quickly while we're managing all of the other phone calls, meetings, creative meetings, politics. I've just spent 45 minutes sorting out everyone's catering on site, so there's 1,001 things that have to be done. There's cyber security policies that are quite big with the EBU. There's so many elements to this production than just drawing the plans. So we delegate it up. I look after the plan drawing. Keith looks after all of the technical cabling drawings and that kind of thing. Morgan looks after the previs model. So we kind of split it up into people with the right skills who are available at the right times to make the whole puzzle work. So it's split into two halves really. So we have the month where we're here at Neg Earth prevising, and that's a fairly simple, we can outline that fairly simply in that we will do a 9:30 start here. Everyone gets their systems online. We then brief the programmers. So we have Mark, Alex and Martin as the three main programmers on the show. So we brief them, Morgan and James brief them on the performance. We look at the national final. So a lot of countries have a final talent show, as it were, to select their artist, or we look at their music video. We look at the directors of tape that we've been sent, which is them rehearsing in an empty room somewhere. And then we read their creative deck and all their ideas. Have they got props? We talk it all through, who's going to do what, how we're going to do it. And then we set the team off programming for a couple of hours, which they're doing right now behind me. They're working on Serbia at the moment. And then while they're doing that, myself, James, Morgan, Peter, we're all sat here working on the next performance or the other performances or the show performances. So we'll do a couple of hours previs, we'll see what the boys have done, they'll show us their first pass, we'll all present our notes, the boys will take that feedback on, and then they will turn that into a finished recording that we output to Serbia, for example. And then we do that twice in a day, so we do two performances a day. So it's morning and afternoon. And so while they're programming, we're doing all the other stuff that needs to get done. About 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on, some of the songs are more complicated than others. So today we're actually doing a 3-song day, but generally it's 2. And it kind of splits into 2 halves of the day, really. The most important thing is it's about realising that actually the delegations are your clients and you're providing customer service to them. There are parts of the show where we can then go off and show off in the halftime shows and all that kind of thing, but ultimately our roles is to look after the delegations who spend a lot of money coming to Eurovision to be part of Eurovision. And it's not about going, this is the Tim Routledge show, whatever. It's about delivering the best possible creative outcome for every single delegation and caring as much about one as the other, and respecting what they're looking for, offering up where we think they can make it better, but looking after all of them. It's basically giving great customer service is what it is. Yeah, so we have these amazing winches this year, which we've got 80 moving lights, Ayrton Rivales, on these epic winches. So we've used winches before in shows with little LEDs on. We used them in Dave's tour recently, but this is a new thing for us of having a full, heavy moving light moving over the stage. And we've got a demo unit here, but it's still just a demo prototype unit. So until we get onto site, we're really not going to see exactly how they behave. But that's kind of cool because we're going to be able to change the architecture at the push of a button super quick and make exciting kind of architectures of light that we've never been able to do before. And then we've always pushed things as hard as we can, as big. The networks we now do are way bigger than we've ever contemplated in scale. Like last year's edition in Switzerland was the biggest lighting network ever. You know, it was vast. And you have some sleepless nights about certain things, but you also, the more you do these massive shows, the more you can rely on your own experience and knowing you've got the best team, the best network technicians from Neg Earth, the best, you know, crew, all of that kind of thing, that if something goes wrong, I'm not going to the one that's going out and fix it. We've got the best possible people that can solve problems fast for us. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago I went over to Vienna and we had a speed date with every single delegation. So 20 minutes, and that's in a room with the head of delegation, their creative director, their lighting designer, their staging, their choreographer, and to download as much information for them as possible as we can about look and feel, things they're looking for, things they don't want. And they can also send us documents. They have deadlines for sending us creative documents or ideas. Some people send us a previs of their ideas. And so we basically take all that information in. As I said earlier, it's all about giving the delegations exactly what they're looking for, and then guiding them that actually maybe this won't work, but if you do it this way, you'll still get what you're looking for, but it will really work. So there's a lot of feedback, and then through the whole process we get notes on a daily basis from the delegations electronically in the live edit system, and we have to respond to all of those. Yeah, it's really hard to create a unique identity for each country, but we're really fortunate that a lot of the delegations come in with strong ideas of their performance. And the reason Eurovision rigs are so massive is because I need as many options as possible to change the stage. So that's why the rigs are 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 size in different editions of the Eurovision, so that we have options. We may have all of those lights, but it's very rare that we would use 75% or all of them at the same time. So it's more about us choosing a section of lights that is particular to this performance, or a style or a genre of lighting, than trying to turn it all on and make it all red. Doesn't really work. We have a joke here that whenever we go through all the songs, it's always a song about someone's internal struggle, and that can be said for most songs. It's either about love or an internal struggle, and most of the time with emotion you can do it with just changing angle or turning things off. So it's either silhouetting someone really strongly, or side light from one side, or if a song's got kind of some burning intensity to it, we'll get Mark, who's on key lights, to flicker the key light a little bit. Or we've got one this year that's lit that wants to feel like candlelight, so the lights are in the key light on the artist is all in orangey colours that are flickering gently. So it's about shifting where the light comes from, and shifting it either at pace or super slowly will help affect the mood. As opposed to doing moving lights, you can move people's mood by just shifting the angle. Or, you know, if I was to move the key light you've got lighting me and put it behind me and blind the camera, I'd be in a big silhouette, and that would turn into a very different mood than this interview style lighting. So in January we send, this is a rule generally for the years we've done it, we send out a video and a document showing what the rig is and what the playground is for the delegations to look at. They then go away for 6 weeks to work up their ideas. They then, at the same time, they find out what the stage size is, if there are any lifts, where they can perform, and then they come back to us early March. That's where we have the speed dates. So it's only really early March we sit with the delegations and talk about it, and the day after speed dates we start previs. So it is fast out the gate. The second we find out what they want, it's go time all the way to the final, every day. Generally budget time. Generally, even though you're doing the biggest shows in the world, there's always a budget. So you can't have unlimited. People think it's unlimited. It's not unlimited in any way, shape or form. And you have to box really clever, and we rely really heavily on partners like Ayrton and Martin and Robey and Acme who help us out here and there. And then we also, our biggest restriction that has been in the last 2 years has been weight loading in the roof. So last year we had the big frame on the front of the stage, which was basically holding up the lighting rig and also looked quite cool. But, and in Vienna this year, there's very little weight loading in the roof. So that does restrict what you're doing. So you have to box really clever, which is where the idea from the winches came from, to try and reduce weight loading in the roof. So yeah, it's generally physical constraints and budget are your main thing. It's all down to detail. Eurovision is like the most precise show you can do. So if you want to get consistency in the performances, it is everyone has an assigned task. Everyone knows very clearly what they're doing, from James and Morgan, the associates, and Louisa in follow spot calling, and the programmers. And the way we give feedback to everyone within the team, and how the feedback comes in, and how we manage that feedback, and that we look at cleaning up every camera shot, and that we Eurovision's one of those few shows where you have the time to really finesse every single camera shot to make it as perfect as you possibly can. So it's about detail and perfection and precision. The biggest one, to be honest, has been follow spots, which is quite a dull subject in a way, but it's the one tool in our toolkit that has really evolved, and tracking people has evolved in the last 5 years and got much simpler. So we're doing a lot more clever things where the lights are physically moving on winches, but they're still tracking someone beautifully, even though they're physically moving in space. So tracking 3D space and the ability to follow people change their colour without having to have operators doing the change. All of that side of things is done within the console. Makes things 10 times, gives us way more opportunities to do cool stuff with lighting people. So in terms of adapting the design for the live audience and the TV, on Eurovision you pick a lane, and Eurovision is a TV show. 100% a TV show. There is a live audience there. They get the experience of being there, and it's quite magical when you're there. It's fun, but it's not designed and lit for a live audience. It is designed and lit for the television audience. And to do something as well as Eurovision, you have to pick a lane, and therefore we picked the 200 million watching at home over the 10,000 people in the room. You can never get it perfect for both. So we very firmly picked that lane of broadcast. It's quite a beamy show this year. Last year was quite a stroby show. So this year we've got some new fixtures in Robey Gigapointy. We've got the Ayrton Nadja, Mamba, and the Eagle Strikes. We've got lots of tight beam, heavy hitting fixtures this year, which is kind of cool, which is a very different architecture to what we've normally had.